With the fall of Bakhmut, the proxy war in Ukraine seems to be crumbling for the United States. Rather than admit a $110 billion defeat, they're now changing the subject to Trump, Trump, Trump.
Last we heard, he was going to take a side entrance, but who knows?
Trump arrived at LaGuardia Airport on a private jet this afternoon, just a few minutes ago.
Right now, according to Google Maps, it's a 29-minute drive, but of course, he's going to have his motorcade and everything.
We're seeing the president, the former president, Donald Trump, now disembarking from the plane. Again, this is a wide shot, but that looks to be
Absolutely.
Donald Trump actually walking down now.
Right now, you are looking at former President Trump and his motorcade on their way to Trump Tower.
There's President Trump leaving his car right there and going into Trump Tower.
President Trump.
Yep, I see him. Got him in the frame. He just waved.
About 30 seconds ago, we saw the former president emerge from the motorcade. You see the picture there.
President Trump, will you come speak to us? President Trump?
Thank you very much, everybody. And we have to save our country. God bless you all. God bless you all. And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen.
Hi, I'm Nat. Today I want to talk about why I think some Democrats are so intent on continuing with the prosecution of Donald Trump, even though many have said it won't really benefit them. And no, it's not just because they hate him. President Donald Trump was formally arraigned yesterday in Manhattan, and the mainstream media coverage quickly turned back to what felt like 2016 with wall-to-wall coverage of every single movement Trump made, from Mar-a-Lago to Manhattan and from there to the DA's office. And the arrest of a former president of the United States is incredibly significant, given that it is unprecedented. This has never happened before, and the way in which he is being arrested, the charges that are being laid upon him, are also very, very murky. Trump's arrest is clearly political, and even 76% of Americans polled, independent, Democrat, and Republican, think so too. The DA behind all of this, Alvin Bragg, even campaigned on arresting Trump and getting him for any crime, which is why George Soros decided to fund his campaign and eventually get him elected. And while there are many Democrat lawmakers and Democrats in general cheering on the arrest of Donald Trump, there are others that are saying to be very cautious, and even some that are completely in disagreement with this, because they can see that the charges laid upon him are completely fabricated. The DA, Alvin Bragg, has completely bent and twisted the judicial system to finally arrest Trump for what would be considered usually a misdemeanor. He decided to elevate this to a Class E felony in Manhattan. He also joined a state statute and a federal statute to completely get rid of the statute of limitations that this misdemeanor would usually carry with it, which means that he would have not been able to indict Trump or even charge him with anything. And while some Democrats and Democrat lawmakers are raising the alarm about the precedent that this is setting, and the bending and twisting of the judicial system by what would be considered a not very powerful DA of Manhattan, the Democrats at the top, the adults in the room, seem to be still going forward with this. They could at any moment go to DA Alvin Bragg and tell him, stop this because it's a bad idea. Since the indictment, Trump has not only gained more and more supporters and skyrocketed in the polls, but he's also been able to raise $10 million in just the past 2 days with the whole arraignment situation. Why would the adults in the room, the Democrats at the top, not be concerned about this? Well, it's because they'd rather play the short game than the long game right now. Since the escalation of the war in Ukraine, Democrats have been intent on continuing it and essentially using it as a proxy war. And for a very long time, it was very beneficial for Democrats to continue the war in Ukraine, both as a proxy war and some speculate as a way to avoid a recession. Because right now the US has ticked off 3 of the 4 boxes necessary for a recession to be announced. Continuing this proxy war, they're able to keep their GDP number high enough where they don't have to check that last box and announce the recession. So it has been very convenient for them to keep it going and keep stoking the fires, especially in the media. However, in the past few days, the 7-month-long battle for the city of Bakhmut has intensified. Military analysts and government-sanctioned maps, like the one you're seeing right now, show that Russia now has 85% control of the city of Bakhmut. This city and this battle has been one of the most important and contentious points of this whole war. And news of Russia now controlling 85% of Bakhmut hasn't really reached mainstream media. But recently, President Zelensky did mention that if Bakhmut falls, then he would be forced to enter into peace talks with Russia and, by proxy, China. This is because the people, he says, would eventually become tired and disheartened by the war effort and start to demand peace talks between the two countries. So these developments in the proxy war in Ukraine, combined with the looming fear of recession and the fact that now many countries have started to ditch the US petrodollar and turn to the Chinese yuan, making many fear that the US might be losing its hegemonic power over developing countries that it needs to keep its success going. And none of this looks good for Biden or the Democrats. But if they're able to continue the media circus around the Trump show, then they're able to hide what I think are some grave errors of this administration, especially now that we're heading into early 2024 campaign season. This is just what I think and how I see it. Obviously, there are a lot more intricacies that go into all of this. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.